All right, rock and roll. Welcome to the weekend. You are at Scorched Earth. If you could, hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Feel free to leave a comment. Anything you want to talk about on the show, please. We'll look at it. I think that a lot of the shows that we do are from people's comments and what they respond to. They're most passionate about. You know, this is a community we're creating here that this isn't a one-sided thing, I think, and that's one of the problems I have with a lot of podcasts. It seems like they're talking down to us. And I want us to be an interactive community. I know we're small. I get that. But I want everybody to feel like they have a piece of this pie. And you know what? When we sell it to CBS for $1 billion, we're all going to Hawaii. Okay, everybody? So you better like and subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. And I am John, and let's burn it all to the effing ground. And this has been actually the biggest week in a while about the Epstein Files. Epstein Files are from, I'm sure everybody on this podcast knows because we have such an intelligent audience, you know, Donald Trump's former best friend who, as far as I'm concerned, was the biggest serial trafficker, child trafficker in the history of the United States. And they were best friends. They hung out at Mar-a-Lago. They did Epstein Island. They did all that cute little stuff. Somehow Donald Trump has been able to distance himself from it. Jeffrey Epstein got a sweetheart deal in 2011 from Ray Acosta, who later became Trump's Secretary of Labor, basically for raping, molesting, doing evil things to these underage girls. Let's not say ladies. He basically got in-house arrest and a slap on the wrist. How you doing? Of course, 2019, he was arrested again because he couldn't stop being a serial pedophile, rapist, child trafficker. And somehow, unbelievably, he killed himself when Donald Trump was president of the United States in a New York jail. I don't believe in too many conspiracies, but if you think I believe he really killed himself, wow, I can sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. So Wednesday of this week, we had quite a few developments. 20,000 pages of documents were released to the House Oversight Committee. It is controlled by the Republicans, but the Democrats were able to secure a subpoena a couple months ago. The documents finally came into them. Please understand, these were not the Epstein files that are held by the FBI and the DOJ. These were documents from just the Epstein estate. There's a big difference there. And what I'm going to tell you is the federal government already had these. They procured all the documents plus hundreds of thousands of more in 2019 when they arrested Jeffrey Epstein before they put him in a cell where he killed himself. Sometimes you just got to laugh, you know. You know, it's so funny. MAGA and the left want the release of these files. Donald Trump ran in the entire 2024 campaign saying he would release them the first chance he got. Funny thing, he must have forgot that the first 10 months as he decided, hey, I think I'm better off just wrecking the United States economy. One of the questions that's asked, and I think it is a relevant question, why didn't Biden release these documents? There's two answers. And first of all, there was a pending lawsuit by Ghislaine Maxwell against the federal government. And because of the terms of that lawsuit, they were not able to release the documents into the public while court proceedings were going on. But more importantly, I think the real answer here is Donald Trump weaponized the DOJ, not as much as he has in 2.0, but in 1.0, he weaponized it to go after political enemies. He was just getting started. And Joe Biden and Merrick Garland, who I think is feckless and weak, made a decision that they were going to do their best not to have any political implications with the Trump administration in terms of we're not going to go after political enemies. Now, I know all you MAGAs, go ahead and ring the bell. Well, you know, they went after him for the Mar-a-Lago. Well, yeah, they did go after people who actually committed crimes. And if you want to say it was only slanted towards Republicans, do remember the DOJ went after Joe Biden's own son. His own son on a bullshit gun charge. right? The gun charge where he had a gun under his seat, the girlfriend saw it, threw it in a dumpster, somebody found it in the dumpster, used it in a crime, and they pinned the gun charge on Hunter Biden. And literally 99.99999% of all cases never have that taken care of, have any charges in association with it. But we're going to talk about the emails real quick, okay? Here's what some of the emails say. These are the three that made the news. It said from Jeffrey to Ghislaine Maxwell. And remember who Ghislaine Maxwell is. She's serving 30 years in prison for sex trafficking. This isn't some lady he happened to come across in a club. This is a former girlfriend, co-conspirator, and an enabler for pedophilia. I want you to realize that the dog hasn't barked yet. The victim's name blacked out. Spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Now, what the reference is for the dog not barking is a Sherlock Holmes thing about he realized because the dog didn't bark, the person who committed the crime was somebody that the dog knew. Dog's friendly, not going to bark. What they're saying is Donald Trump is the person here because he was in the inner circle, right? Then he said to Michael Wolff sent this to him. He said, now this is interesting. Michael Wolff is an author who had a very close association. I'm not saying in terms of going to Epstein Island, but they were collaborators. They were associates. I don't know what I hate to say anybody's a friend because then they get lumped into the pedophilia. I have never heard any allegations of Michael Wolff with young women. Take it as you want. Michael Wolff, who's a very astute guy, said there's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way you could garner great sympathy and help finish him. Are you interested? Ooh, that's an interesting one. Jeffrey Epstein, in an email. Never heard of him. Donald is close to no one. He talks to many people. He tells each one something different. And then he said, do you know him? I heard he is so close to Trump, talking about Epstein. Ooh, interesting. Now, we're going to do something a little different here. The timeline is the emails come out on Wednesday. All right? Donald Trump's had 10 months to release him. He said he would release him on his first day. He didn't do it. The Wall Street Journal reported that he is in all over the Epstein Files. Pam Bondi in February told Fox News she was going to release the files. She never did. She said they were on her desk. She never did. Kash Patel for 4 years, besides running some type of scam, has been beckoning him and Dan Bongino to release the Epstein Files, give him a job. Now all of a sudden they're very quiet. They're quieter than a monk. But so Wednesday, after the release, they brought Lauren Boebert, the MAGA representative from Colorado, into the White House, into the Situation Room. We talked about that previously this week, and they put the hardcore press on her to take her name off the vote. They needed 218 people to sign up for a House discharge to have full release of the Epstein Files from the DOJ and the FBI. She would not. Funny thing, I found out later, the reason, maybe, yeah, right, that it was in the Situation Room and not in the Oval Office or not in the press briefing room or any place or another office is because the Situation Room has technology that you cannot record anything. Ooh, interesting. Now later, Lauren understands that if she wants to run as a Republican, you really can't poke the bear too much. She said, no, I'm not going to discuss what happened there, right? Then, on Thursday, Mike Johnson came out, and he said that actually, because of the pressure, they were going to have a vote next week on of all the full House on the release of the documents. But here's what I really want to talk about. And this is probably my favorite twat waffle, and that would be Megyn Kelly. And boy, oh boy, she had some stuff to say this week. Let's go along.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is.
Okay, she knows somebody very, very close to this case. Let's call his name Donald Trump. Let's continue.
He's in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually.
And what we're going to do here is, this is her podcast, right? Nobody's cross-examining. There's somebody from News Nation on here who wants her 2 seconds of fame and infamy. So she'll brush her hair during the interview if that's what Megyn Kelly wants. I am going to go through point by point the BS this lady is talking to literally millions of people.
Really everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile.
Okay, she is saying this person, out of the 341 million people, she's got one person that she does not name that says Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile. Okay? Let me tell you something. What's stealing? Is stealing what Bernie Madoff did? Damn right. If you talk to people on Wall Street, if you said, you're kind of stealing from all the customers because you're kind of charging a little more than the law allows, you know what they say? It's not really, it's just overage. So her sitting here telling us that she knows some guy who says Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile is literally horse crap. But she is portraying it as a serious conversation. Okay? Pedophilia is having sexual relations with anybody under 18. There is no equivocation in the law. It is rape, it is sexual assault, it is pedophilia. Okay? Let's go on with the incredible Megyn Kelly.
This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked.
What is the barely legal type? Excuse me? No age here. She is just talking straight out her butt. What is the barely legal? No names. She is just talking like this is a normal conversation, like we're talking about economics 101 in, Professor Scott's class.
15-year-old girls.
Now, 15-year-old girls are okay. Now let's recount what goes on in the criminal world. Under 18, it's rape. It's rape. If you don't believe so, ask P. Diddy why he's doing 30 years. Let's remember that.
And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for.
Yes, you are trying to make an excuse, you vapid human being. You are exactly doing deflection and cover for this pedophiliac because he was associated to your buddy, Donald Trump.
This. I'm just giving you facts.
Now, that's my favorite line there. I'm giving you facts. Listen to what she says. And this is how this right-wing ecosphere does it. They say, I know a guy who knows somebody who has this view. And now all of a sudden, it becomes facts. First of all, tell me the facts of how many women under 18 Jeffrey Epstein was. No facts. How many women under 17 he was with? No facts. How many women at 15? She acts like there is some type of real factual documentation. The only way you get factual documentation, and for all the MAGAs listening out there, it's the same thing I talk about the 2020 election fraud. Go to court and show me a conviction. Go to court and show me facts. Court is in our world. Forget the ecosphere. Forget Brett Bart. Forget this stupid human being called Megyn Kelly. The only thing that are facts. Go to court. Give me a ruling. The same court that we got 34 criminal convictions for Donald Trump on felonies for financial fraud.
That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds.
Wow. So he was into 15, which she's trying to say that's not a pedophilia. That's her own words. Now she's saying, well, really wasn't that bad of a guy. He wasn't raping and molesting 8-year-olds. Yeah.
But he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even.
Teen starts at 12. 12. Let me ask you something. You're a logical human being. It's disgusting and disgusting. There is no excuse here. She is doing inflection and deflection all at the same time. She's trying to somehow say, well, he didn't touch the 8-year-olds. Nobody even said he did. But there is huge victims. We saw that on the Capitol steps a couple months ago, I believe less than 2 months ago, where the victims all said that they were under 17.
Even younger than they were, but would look legal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? So she's saying they're under 18, but they look like they're over 18. Wow, that should have been a hell of a criminal defense. Maybe he used that. Maybe that's why he got such a sweetheart deal from the corrupt Ray Acosta, who later became Trump's labor secretary. You know what? If you look at Megyn Kelly, you might actually look at somebody and you think your first thought is, she might actually have a heart and a brain. You would be wrong on both counts.
To a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years.
That is what I believe, and that was what I was reliably told by one person. Let me ask you something. If everybody in your world tells you something's wrong, but one person tells you something's right, hey, you can make your own choice. You can make your own journey. I get that. But later, when everything falls apart, would you say, I should have listened to the 99%? Hello?
And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos.
Whoa! Whoa! Wow! Now she's trying to give him cover because now Pam Bondi told her there's videos, which is insane, okay? It's all criminal. It is absolutely, unequivocally all criminal. And now she's starting to, after all these years believing he really wasn't a pedophile, that maybe he was. Wow. Welcome to Earth, twat waffle.
She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true.
Oh, there you go. Now, she literally said 5 seconds ago, well, yeah, she said there was 10,000 videos and I believed it, and then I guess he was a pedophile. But now she says, I have to be honest, I don't know if I believe him. Believe her, excuse me. Wow. I mean, really, is she saying anything? Literally, this is more useless than day-old newspaper.
I have to be honest, I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word.
Of course, now we don't trust Pam Bondi. Now, we do the whole circle here.
On the Epstein matters
or anything else
anymore.
The other little sycophant in the video is saying, whatever you want, Megyn, I want to come back in and get access to all your millions of viewers.
Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but
I don't know what's true about him. I tell you what's true. He's a straight up pedophile. Straight up. And he was best friends with Donald Trump. Straight effing up. This lady, I don't even know what you say. She literally goes back and forth and then rides on the side of Jeffrey Epstein was not a pedophile. It's like saying water isn't wet. MAGA, 40% of MAGA believes pedophilia is a serious issue. It is a serious issue. How widespread, we can all debate. But I think most people on the left and on the far right agree Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophilia. He was a rapist. And Ghislaine Maxwell was his sex trafficking co-conspirator. She wasn't some innocent lady who just happened to walk across it. Now, after we got the mouthpiece, that is the Trump administration, because trust me, this is coming straight out of the White House. Donald Trump on Friday starting to get into a full panic because it didn't work with Lauren Boebert, didn't work with Marjorie Taylor Greene. He released the following statement. Now that the Democrats are using the Epstein hoax, of course, he ran on that whole hoax in 2024, saying he would release all the files on his first day in office, involving Democrats, not Republicans, to try and deflect from their disastrous shutdown. Sorry, buddy, that's in the rearview mirror. And all of their other failures. I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, of course they fired anybody who wasn't a sycophant to the Trump administration, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement in relationship, now wait for it, Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. Wow. Now, let's be honest. The only people he didn't mention in here were JFK and Jimmy Carter. Funny, the one name that he didn't seem to want the DOJ to investigate was a guy named Donald John Trump. He continued, this is another Russia scam. Of course, Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio in 2017 did confirm that Russia did interfere with our election in 2016. All the arrows are pointing to the Democrats. Records show that these men and many others spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Stay tuned. This is the man who was best friends with him for 10 years. 10 effing years. Right? So now he's ordered Pam Bondi, and she tweeted back, okay, sir. She knows how to keep her job, right? This is such a hoax. I really want you to think about this. This is such a hoax that the King of England, less than 2 weeks ago, stripped his own brother of his title of prince from the royal family because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. That's how big of a hoax it is. He also kicked him out of his house. Yeah. Big hoax. Big hoax. Yeah. You know, we're going to see where this goes. The House is going to vote. Mike Johnson said it was going to be next Thursday. Now he is saying it's going to be Tuesday. After that, it goes to the Senate. This is where Trump's going to try and block it. Even if it does pass, I guess it has to go to his desk to sign, and we know there isn't a snowball chance in hell that he's going to sign this. Okay. Then it could go back to the House where they try to override him. I'm starting to get to the point where there is something really, really volatile. There's napalm in these files. And I guess, I can look back on it. I wish Joe Biden had been a lot more like the Republicans, because he could have derailed Trump's presidency in 2024 by just releasing the whole file. I don't want to condemn the man for being an honorable human being, but man, I wonder from here on in, Gavin Newsom, Moore, whoever, me, is going to be the president in 2028. Are the Democrats going to stoop to the level Trump is? We're seeing right in front of our very eyes. He's in the files. He knows he's in the files. The wave is coming. Now, what's going to be I'm at the point where he's president for 3 years no matter what. I don't think MAGA's going to impeach him. I really don't. I wish they would, but I don't think that's going to come. Will it cripple his presidency? I don't know. There's been a million things he's done that I thought were going to basically be his death knell. Let's start with January 6th. Mitch McConnell gave him cover. Oh, I'm not going to vote to impeach him, but there'll be criminal penalties for him down the road. Because Mitch was just a pussy. Mitch wanted to be rid of him, but he didn't want to do the dirty work. Like he did stopping Merrick Garland from becoming a Supreme Court justice in Obama's final year. All right. That's what it is. That's the way they play. I just wanted to show you what the right is all about. I think Megyn Kelly is very emblematic. And please, like I told you the other night, there are whispers that she is getting ready for a presidential run in 2028. She's trying to placate the right there and MAGA and everybody in between. She is literally doing a word salad and basically doing cover for the White House because she believes, and I think this is absolutely the wrong way to go at it, she has to placate Trump and MAGA. And let me tell you, by the year 2028, when that election is in full swing, MAGA is going to be more radioactive than Chernobyl. That's what I got to say. All right. If you could, please hit that like and subscribe. I hope you have a lovely weekend. feel free to drop a comment. We're going to have a special surprise for you on Monday, and we will see you soon on the Scorched Earth Political Podcast.